Many people say that music is a universal language. If that's the case, I would like to use music as a platform to talk about health. My name is Dr. Moshe Lewis, and I'm a full-time practicing physician who loves music and the way it affects our brains, our bodies, and our well-being. I would like to invite you to tune in where we interview musical artists about health matters that are important to them. But the truth is, we'll be discussing topics that affect all of us. From mental health to body image, cancer screening to stroke, our health is truly our greatest asset. So the goal is to open the dialogue on health to embrace topics that we don't always like to talk about in a way that's raw, candid, and lit. Hopefully, these discussions will improve the health of our community. After all, your health matters to me, and if I can make it sound more beautiful, then that's something we should all listen to.
Music and medicine, when you hear those words, how do they speak to your heart?
Music and medicine. Music is medicine. You feel me?
Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. Really excited today to be celebrating John Singleton, Baby Boy. We've got two phenomenal guests in from that show. Our first guest, DeJuan Guy, is simply amazing in and of himself, just having survived the industry and having done all the credits he has done, from TV all the way to films. He was almost in one of his films, you guys know it, Boys in the Hood, but then ultimately catching John's eye, they stayed in touch and put him in Baby Boy. And today's just a celebration about all things John Singleton. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I want to kind of look back a little bit because the career that you had and you continue to do amazing things is not something that everybody can pull off. So from Ohio all the way to Marla Gibbs Studio, how did that transition occur?
Well, from a young age, I had the acting bug. My first memory ever, I might have been 4 years old,
Mhm.
and I'm in my grandmother's kitchen with my aunt, and we're doing improv of the Cosby Show. And I'm playing Bud to come over and see Rudy and ask if she's playing Mrs. Huxtable. So the whole playing and improving started early. Later, I did go to Dayton Playhouse,
Right,
but my aunt was living in California,
sure.
and went with my grandmother to California, and she put me in school at Marla Gibbs Crossroads, which led to me meeting John Singleton when he was getting ready to do Boys in the Hood. He was in casting in pre-production for Boys in the Hood. Matter of fact, Morris Chestnut was also in that acting class. It was an adult acting class, and my aunt asked me to be in the scene with her and her scene partner from A Raisin in the Sun, to play with Travis, and I did that. And John saw me. He's like, I want him for my movie. I want him for my movie. So I go and I audition with Lawrence Fishburne, and I do this big audition, and they're like, this guy is 8 years old. He looks like he's 6, and this is not going to work with the profanity and everything going on. But John was like, I want him in the movie. So he had me do a small part where I'm riding with my bikes and my friends, and Cuba's kissing his girlfriend on the porch. And I said, oh, y'all going to do the Oochie Coochie. And they chased us on some rocks,
Right.
and they cut that out the movie. So that's how my relationship built with John.
Sure. Let's break that down a little bit because all these names you just rattled through are obviously all legends. Talk to us about just even working at that studio in Marla Gibbs and being in that class at such a young age.
There was a guy named Tracy Coley. He was a voice coach there. Wendy from the Steve Harvey Show.
Okay.
She was a teacher there. Um, it was a great place to be. It really was. Marla Gibbs would come, and we would put on productions every summer, and it started the early theater training for me. So I really enjoyed that. Later I went to a high school for the arts, and I kind of just kept the arts going throughout my youth, even though during my elementary and junior high years, I was working a lot. I was working a lot. And then even the Baby Boy, that's another story. That wasn't the traditional audition.
Right. At all.
I heard about it.
Mhm.
They said they're casting boys in. My neighbor told me, and I lived not too far from Leimert Park at the
Right.
time. And he said, they're over in Leimert Park casting for Boys in the Hood too.
Wow.
And I'm like, really? Okay. So me and my aunt we go on over there to John's office, and I'm like, is John here? Tell him I'd like to see him. And the receptionist, like, I don't know if he's here. And I had no idea his car was in the parking lot, but I took a while. It was a nice Lexus SUV,
Right.
and I said, "That's probably John's." So I said, "Didn't I see his car in the parking lot? Oh, let me go get him." And she comes and she said, John's like, "Yeah, let him read for Jody." I actually auditioned for Jody,
Mhm.
and then I ended up getting cast in Looney Tune.
Right, right, right.
And Looney Tune became Looney Tune on set.
Right.
On set, like that day, he was like, "We're gonna call you Looney Tune." And in the scene, you see me coming out my shirt at the liquor bank. That I was walking around getting in the character,
Right.
and he said, I want you to do that in the scene," and he kept that for the movie. So a lot of that, it was a lot of improv in Baby Boy.
Sure. Talk to us about what you remember of him and the way he just really directed his style.
John was straight and direct and don't come whining. I remember the night I was getting whooped with the belt. So Omar is dragging me, and I was like, I'm like, man, this gotta hurt. John like, man, suck it up. It's just a job. You get paid to do this. Like,
Right.
but it was it didn't hurt. The belt was a fake belt, but the but the him grabbing me around my arm was not really comfortable. But he was great to work with. Like I said, he just pick up little things that I did coming out my shirt. He'd add that in. We were just on when we were at the park. And identically, we're at Jim Gilliam Park and playing a bunch of Crips in a flood neighborhood. In the background, you see BPS.
Right.
But we're in there and we're just talking and we're talking, "Oh, Alizé, oh, what's you," all the little things, "Oh, the girl look like she's 14," whatever, all the dialogue that we came up with for that part of the scene up until they walk up. Sweet Pea walks up with Tyrese and Jody, and they approach us and pull a gun on us and draw down. Up until that point, it was all pretty much ad lib and improv.
Right.
You know, that first part of that scene. So I love how John gave us the freedom to, as actors, to just kind of feel the character, get in the character, and do what comes naturally.
Sure. What did you take away from that film? What do you feel like he was trying to communicate?
Um, a situation you see often, um, which is a young man becomes a father, but he doesn't want to break away from being a mama's boy and staying home with mom, and he doesn't want to break off. And I could relate to that a little bit because I was my first child. I was 19. John Singleton saw me at the Golden Bird, and he was like, "You're the real life baby boy." So I could relate. But that movie. There was so many lessons in that film. Even when Jody was having the visions of bad things happening, him getting killed and all these are all things that was going through his mind, at the time. And I think that uh I like how it ended with him finally saying, "You know what, I'm gonna leave my mother's nest. I'm gonna go be a father and be with my girl and live with them and we're gonna be a family." So he showed that growth, and then the development between Ving Rhames' character and Jody, how they finally came and had an understanding after he had that situation with Snoop Dogg's character, where Sweet Pea takes him out and everything. It was a lot of guns and butter, guns and butter.
Absolutely.
You gonna use the guns and butter. You gonna butter.
Mm.
That's a jury and cars and all the stuff that loses value and different things. So like he taught Jody that you got to look into the stocks and the bonds and the real estate, the guns, the stuff that's going to accumulate in value. And so he dropped a lot of gems in that movie, and John did that in all his movies. I'm a
Absolutely.
big John Singleton fan. I've watched all of his films, and there's always some type of lesson. One of my favorite movies he did was Rosewood.
Mhm.
It's
Absolutely.
something that I had never seen on film before, and I like the history and how he talked about that town that got destroyed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of your work in between these two big projects. Well, first of all, since you brought it up, sometimes people can feel horrible to learn that they did all that work, got cast, filmed, and then it gets cut. Talk to us about that reality, at least in the fourth.
I remember I was a little kid. I think I was in the third grade, and I was telling all my friends I was gonna be in this new movie, Boys in the Hood, and it was a disappointment,
Sure.
but I learned right away. Just because you shoot it,
Right.
just because you film it,
Right.
it doesn't mean that you won't get cut on the chopping board. And in the few, I did some other movies and stuff where scenes got cut. I was in Cherokee Kid. I was in the movie, but they cut a few of my scenes out. Some fun scenes to me when I was breaking Sinbad out of jail and I had the 6 shooters and man, it was supposed to be like a dream sequence, but they cut that scene. Another, I'm playing cards and I stabbed somebody between the hands and it was all this like Western cool stuff that I was getting to do. And then they cut that part out. They cut that part out the movie. So I learned from Boys in the Hood. Wait till it comes out. Or if you know somebody behind the scenes, say, hey, you know, is my scene still in? Did you keep like I just did a recent miniseries called Walk With Me that's on Tubi right now and Apple TV. It's about a man, Sean Holiday, who gets falsely imprisoned and he's fighting for his freedom and he does get his freedom, but I'm a correctional officer and a cool one kind of at the prison and I'm, you know, playing cards with him and talking to him and, you know, that was a good experience. But yeah, so you just never know, you know.
Absolutely. I think those are pearls. I mean, really important for us to realize. Let's talk about being a scene stealer, the stuff that you did on In Living Color and situations like that.
Oh, in Living Color, I had the opportunity to work with Jim Carrey, Jamie Foxx, Tommy Davidson, and there's one more I'm forgetting, but I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah,
Dave Allen Greer.
Right.
David Allen Greer. So I worked with all of them. I got hired, did different skits. One of my favorite ones was with Jim Carrey, and it was like the Make a Death Wish. And he was taking me around, and I was doing, if I wanted to fly an airplane, he was letting me fly the airplane. If I wanted to run thing at the amusement park, playing the Super Bowl kickoff, he was letting me do everything. And that was a real fun skit to work on. And Living Color was a lot of fun.
Sure.
A lot of fun.
Now, it seems like your aunt was your manager. Tell us a little bit about her and the relationship and how she really got you.
Shout out to Irene Crawford, my aunt. She had done some theater training and went to college and studied theater. She had started her career as a lot of actors do, doing extra work.
Right.
And trying to get the SAG card and going up that way. And then in comes me, and she puts her career on hold. And, you know, she's actually standing behind me at the funeral scene in Candyman. She's gotten in a couple places, on a couple projects that I've had, but she would coach me for every audition. One of the exercises we would do is after I memorized my lines, I would just look in the mirror and deliver my lines to the mirror and say it to the mirror. She was one, if I wasn't keeping it real, if it didn't sound authentic, she would, what are you doing? Stop. Don't say, all right, now and we would do different exercises. Now do it like Steve Urkel. Now do it like this or that. All right, now do it, we would try different ways of doing it. Now do it like your Uncle Jay would do it, or do it, you know, do it like Bernie Mac. See this here, I'm telling you, do it like Bernie Mac, I'm trying to tell you. Whatever. And we would come up with different ways so that it would keep it natural, whatever role I was playing. And then I would have different ways I would get into character and still do, you know, listening to music, certain types of music. You know, when I was doing Baby Boy, I was listening to Snoop Dogg. He had just came out with an album, and I was listening to that when I was on Baby Boy set and playing dominoes, doing things that I thought that my character would do. And Omar Goodings actually one taught us how to play dominoes, me and my mom. Started playing dominoes, but yeah.
Super smart though, right? Because sometimes they will change up the type of style or type of scene or where you want to play it, even on set, last minute and things like that. So I really need to have that versatility. All right. So since you brought it up, One Take Jake.
One Take Jake. That was the bathroom scene. Yeah. That was the scene where she gets beat up. She comes to Cabrini Green Projects. I lead her to the bathroom. I tell her the story about the little boy and what happened to him. She goes in, and then the fake Candyman, who's just like a thug from the neighborhood, some gangster, he comes in there and they beat her up. And that scene where I walk in and I look and I see her on the ground and everything, we did that like one time in a safety, and that was it. That's where they were like, One Take Jake, and they got it. But I always try to make sure I'm really prepared, you know, for whatever work I'm doing, you know, and whatever character to build the character development. I learned a lot more about that when I went to high school, to Los Angeles County High School for the Arts, where we deal with character development and building your character and all that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Sure. So let's backtrack a little bit in that role because it's huge. So it's just about getting it, landing it, and then
Okay.
working with Virginia Madsen.
Okay. So Candyman. Typical thing is your agent calls you, you get an audition, or your agent calls you, you get the role, you hear from your agent. That wasn't my Candyman story. So I think I even missed a Candyman audition, and I still got it. It was like 400 kids, a lot of kids going for Candyman. So I go in and I audition with Virginia, and I do my last audition, and we're going to the car, and Virginia Madsen comes running out. You got the part. You got it. You got it. Congratulations. You got the part. That doesn't happen typically
No.
in the industry. I've had one other time when I got cast in Baywatch. They told me when I had to be paralyzed. I was in a wheelchair, so I couldn't move. I had to practice at home in a wheelchair and everything. And they told me at the final audition, "You got it. Don't say anything," because there was a lot of kids out there still auditioning, but you got the part. So those are the two times in my career that I knew that I had it, before my agent called me the traditional way.
Right. Talk to us about how that movie spoke to you because that's certainly very deep, heavy. The music's very, very heavy.
Candyman?
Candyman, yeah.
Candyman scared me. I
I'm not
was
surprised. It's scary
it's
movie.
I mean, as I look at it now, when I got older, I'm like, this is a love story.
Mhm.
Candyman is a horror love story. But as a kid, I was terrified. I didn't want to go to sleep by myself. I didn't want to go to the bathroom by myself, and I definitely wasn't saying Candyman in the mirror. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
We're on the set of In Living Color. I'm with some other kids. We're in the bathroom. We're saying Candyman. We're not going to say it 5 times. We're out of there.
Exactly.
It was like Candyman was just as real as Freddy Krueger or Jason. Candyman was real for me, and I was in the movie, saw the Candyman later. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. That was a good friend of mine. He man, like met Tony Todd, knew him, and still the Candyman scared me as a kid. Yeah, so it was great working on that with Bernard Rose and with Virginia. Uh, Great experience for me. I remember in the Chicago cold,
Yeah.
Virginia was helping keep me warm, even though I was layered up pretty good, with my wardrobe was layered up. But there was just a lot of love on that set, and I took a positive. It was a good jump start for my career, and a lot of people still recognize me from Candyman, and I'm 43 now. That was so many years ago, but yeah.
Talk to us about that following because you guys go and still do the signs and things like that and promotion.
Yeah, the last time I was with Tony Todd was a couple years ago. We did a Texas Frightmare down in Texas, and we were doing the autographs, and people were coming taking pictures. Oh, that was so fun. I mean, this one guy came and he had the full Candyman costume on with the bee, something for the bees in his chest, and he had a hook, and he came all
Right.
way across the country. He was like, I came all the way here just to he wanted to take a picture with me. And he said, I just wanted to take a picture with you. I came all this way. I've been loving the movie for so long. Like, there's some really serious fans out there. So I had never before going to that, I had never really interacted with the fans who are really horror fans or who really see Candyman the way they do. I saw so many different things I was autographing. It wasn't just shirts, it was posters, it was artwork, it was all kinds of stuff I was autographing, and they were wanting to come. And this was right after COVID, I think. And we were, it was right after COVID, so we had the mask on and we were doing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I had such a great time. Went out to dinner with Tony Todd, and we had a great dinner and everything. It was a wonderful experience.
Sure. Vanessa Williams was here recently.
Yeah, I saw that.
And in that last scene, talk to us about just you're so serious and it's such a like moving piece.
The bonfire
Yeah.
scene. Yeah. That that was my scene where it was a long night. Um I had I'm thinking the Candyman is there. I saw the Candyman, so I know he's in there, but it was actually her who I saw, her hook. And so I'm thinking I'm doing something for the neighborhood here. This is a killer that's been terrorizing the projects and everyone. Let's go burn him up. And I still remember how hot the torch was real and the flame was right by my face. And if you see on camera how that flame was close to my face, I felt that heat.
Mm.
That was real fire.
Right.
And it was a long, long night. I fell asleep. Understand? They had to come wake me up. But yeah, it was a long night. It was a very good scene. That scene and the scene where I dropped the hook in the grave was at the funeral, one of my favorites as well, because it's like we've come to support Helen, her character, and I'm passing on the torch. Here's the hook. Go finish your unfinished business. And then she comes back and kills her husband. You got him. He deserved it. He had it coming.
Sure.
So yeah, but yeah, those are real powerful things for me.
Sure. There are a couple of other projects you did that I think you really like. If Kalani, is there another film that you also worked on that you enjoyed a lot? What would that be?
We talked about it. I really enjoyed working on Baby Boy. But far as the sets, just as we were talking about in general over my career, Fresh Prince was really fun to work on. Will Smith had Nike send me some shoes for Christmas. Uh it was such a relaxed set. We all went in Will's dressing room and he played music and we danced and we just kind of had a good time loosening up for the audience. Everybody was just really down to earth, and that was a great set. Sister, another, the twins, Tia and Tamara, they're great people to work with, and a great set to be on. Some really good memories on that set.
Yeah. Let's talk about you and sort of coming down, being in these phenomenal movies and also TV shows with such legends and things like that, becoming one yourself. How do you sort of unwind? How do you relax and step back when, okay, I got a little break here?
I love music.
Mm.
Particular gospel music. Over my lifetime, I've been in a number of gospel choirs or praise teams. And then just a note on that, how strongly I feel about that. There was a movie that I was going to do called Blue Hill Avenue.
Mhm.
And I was going to do the movie, but the schedule conflicted with a concert that I had committed to be the MC. And I was going to lead a song, one of Kirk Franklin songs, and I was going to be in this concert for my church, First AME Los Angeles, Pastor LCCO Chip Murray. And I had made that commitment, and the schedule wasn't going to conflict. But then when it conflicted, I said, I made this commitment to my church. I put God first. I said, and that was the last thing that my grandmother, rest in peace, my mom's mother, my aunt's mother, Mama, we called her. And that was the last thing she saw me do before she passed away.
It's really good.
That was the last thing she saw me do. And then after that, I got Baby Boy.
Right. Look at that. So,
Baby Boy went straight to the movies. Blue Avenue went
Right.
to DVD.
sure, sure.
But you see how God works?
Right.
I was
Right.
obedient.
Yes. Right.
I said, I made this commitment. I'm going to do this concert for my church. Flew my grandmother out here. She came to see me do the concert. I didn't know the following June she was going to pass away.
Right.
But then God said, oh, but I got another thing. Here's Baby Boy. And Baby Boy has been blessing me since 2001
Yeah. Amazing.
with either opportunities for roles
Right.
or just the residual checks or whatever. But people know me. You ask people, what's Blue Hill Avenue? They might, oh, I remember so-and-so was in there. They might remember it. But you ask somebody, what's Baby
That's
Boy?
right.
Did you see Baby Boy? Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah. It was a blessing because I was obedient. And that's how God works. So when it comes to music, when I was about 12 years old, I think I was going to West Angeles Christian Academy. And every year we would do a Christmas program and at the church, at the West Angeles
It's
church,
huge.
big church.
Right.
And this was before they went to the cathedral. I went in the 90s.
Hmm.
So I led and did Kirk Franklin's part on Jesus is the Reason for the Season.
Right.
And I told my aunt after I did that, I love doing this more than anything that I do. Anything
Excellent. Sure.
that I do. Because of the way it made me feel. When I get up and I sing gospel music, yeah, what do I do to calm down? I'm gonna listen to some gospel music. That's not all I listen to. I like rap, I like jazz, I like oldies. I've been a DJ and did oldie goldie nights, and I love music. But in particular, my connection, I think that's part of my purpose and part of my ministry is through gospel music and through exaltation when I'm at church and things like that. So that's played a key role in keeping me level.
Sure. Absolutely. Highlighting that with an exclamation point. What's that pearl? And it may be in the faith and also in gospel music that helped you make this transition, because so many people that may have all these phenomenal roles and or money or experience coming at them at an early age, it can be challenging becoming an adult and transitioning.
It can be. I never let things go to my head. I never I thought I was better than anybody. I'm on the set, I'm kicking it with the extras and talking to the extras. It's like you principal actor. Like we're all here to work. We're all people.
Right.
We just got different jobs. So I've always been, even younger, I've always been like that. I never thought, well, I'm up here on the list or
Right.
I'm starring in this or I'm co-starring or I have a principal role and you don't. So I'm not gonna talk. No, we gonna talk. We gonna kick it. We might even be going to school together, whatever. Like, I'm just humble like that. And I never let it go because I know it can come and it can go. And then in my life, I've seen what I've had and what I didn't have. So in all, I just try to keep God first and trust God that God's going to lead me in the right direction and keep a hedge of protection as he has kept over me all of my life. And I try to go with that.
Sure. Where can we find you and more about you?
Where on my Instagram, I am that I am has spoken.
Okay.
Facebook, DeJuan Guy. Twitter at Guy DeJuan. Well, now it's X. I don't use Twitter a lot. I don't really use Twitter. Mostly Instagram or Facebook or something like that. But yeah, and then make sure that you check out episode 1 and 3 of Walk With Me, which is on Tubi and on Apple TV. So, yeah.
Sure. Love it. Thank you so much. Thanks for your
Thank you. It's
time.
been a
Thanks for your
pleasure.
passion. Thanks for your faith.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.